All right, great. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 43rd APEA SLEvA webinar series. For today's webinar, we will be talking about the recently Eval for Action campaign initiative called Youth and Evaluation Week. And we will be focusing on the experiences and way forward from the Asia Pacific perspective. So for today, I am your moderator. My name is Ana Erika Lareza, based in the Philippines. I am a young and emerging evaluator and also a co-founder of EvalYouth Asia. So just a quick audience reminder, while you are listening to our panelists, please do keep your microphones and video disabled to lessen the load on your internet bandwidth and ensuring a quality event experience. If you also have questions or concerns, feel free to leave them in the chat. I will be addressing them when I can all throughout the event, and we will also be having a Q&A session later after the panel discussion. So with that, without further ado, it's my pleasure to welcome our first speaker to give his opening remarks, Dr. Acela Calagumpatia, President of SLEvA and of APEA. So over to you, Acela.
Thank you, everyone. Greetings to all the participants, and also congratulations to the organizers for the 43rd webinar. It's not easy to have 43 webinars. And I'm also happy to see that the topic of today's webinar is youth in evaluation and experience, as well as way forward discussion. Asia Pacific region actively participated in Youth in Evaluation, the global initiative, since the launch last year. At the same time, the manifesto was launched with the global initiative, and Asia Pacific region was actively participated in the manifesto signing as well. And then as part of the region global initiative, standards were developed, 6 standards, how to meaningfully engage youth in evaluation. One standard for WOPES, another for youth organizations, government, academia, private sector, and international organizations. So participation in developing these standards were instrumental from Asia Pacific region. And then lastly, the Youth in Evaluation Week, which was held from 24th to 28th April, a few months ago. We had a lot of activities from the region. I can see some of the countries represented here in the panel were really active. So in this sense, it is really good to see that we are discussing what is our experience, as well as the way forward. In the region, at the same time, we have very active young and emerging evaluators, EvalYouth chapters, actively engage in the regional program. And now how we can engage youth in general in evaluation, especially to promote evaluation, participate in evaluations, as well as use evaluation to maximize development results. That is the challenge we have. And then we have some tools, standards to use, already available. So let's see what our panelists say, and then inputs from the audience. So I will pass the floor to Erika back again to have this discussion with the wonderful panelists, Mae, Uga, Tashi, and Kasun. Erika, back to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Acela. So as Acela have mentioned, this webinar series is part of part as well of APEA, or the whole region in general, the whole region's commitment to youth and evaluation, which is actively taking action for the region, for the networks here in Asia Pacific, to meaningfully engage young people in evaluation, and that includes young and emerging evaluators. Who are, like, for our specific context, for Asia Pacific, are really the powerhouse of the WOPES and all of the successes and all of the initiatives that currently ongoing in the region. So for this webinar, we will be talking about, like, what were the experiences of EvalYouth chapters, specifically during Youth and Evaluation Week. What were their lessons? And so it is, like, it is also one unique thing as well for this set of panel that we have today is all of them are young and emerging evaluators. So it is, as you know, despite like this whole initiative, it is also still it's still not a standard for, like, for young and emerging, for panel full of young and emerging evaluators to come up. So this is my happy to introduce to you our panelists for today. So first up is Dorothy Mae Albiento. She is a co-leader of EvalYouth Asia. So just open your video, May, and just say hi to the audience. Our next panelist is Uugantsetseg Gonchigdorj, co-leader of EvalYouth Mongolia and also of EvalYouth Asia. So say hi, Uga. Our third panelist is Tashi Choden, co-leader of EvalYouth Bhutan. And our last panelist is Kasun Ramanayake, co-leader of EvalYouth Sri Lanka. So yeah, say hi, everybody. So yeah, so just to give more context for our audience, like, I think it's also important for you guys to know what actually each chapter did during Youth in Evaluation Week, as Asala have mentioned. Each of the chapters in the region have been actively involved and were taking active action in, promoting young and emerging evaluators, not just in the region, but they're on their own national context. So I think it's important that we also hear from them, like, what they did. So first up, I would like to share their experiences during Youth and Evaluation Week. I would first like to call for May to share their experiences. Over to you, May.
Good evening, everyone from Manila. So for Youth and Evaluation Week, EvalYouth Asia, as the regional chapter of the EvalYouth Network in our region, launched a social media campaign called Asia Pacific YES, Evaluation Changemakers. So the main idea of this campaign was to put a spotlight on young and emerging evaluators in our region as active leaders in their own organizations and in the EvalYouth community at the national, regional, and even global levels. So in this campaign, we try to feature the stories of YEs on social media in the hopes of really focusing the attention on the evaluation ecosystem and the role and value of YEs as really capable evaluation professionals and leaders and change makers in their own right. So in this way, we actually had hoped to inspire more young people to venture into the field of evaluation and to help rally the evaluation community in promoting and advocating for the empowerment of YEs in the region. Additionally, through our small grants project in partnership with APEA, 2 of the 4 national chapters in Asia Pacific who were provided grants were able to conduct capacity building and networking activities for YEs in their countries during the Youth and Evaluation Week. So 2 of them are here to also share their experience of their activity during Youth and Evaluation Week. Over to you, Erika.
Thank you, May. And then next is from the experiences of EvalYouth Sri Lanka. Kasun, share us what you did during Youth and Evaluation Week.
Thank you, Erika. Actually, this event is called Workshop and Career Expo for Young and Emerging Evaluators in Sri Lanka, which was conducted in the 29th of April 2023. 60 participants were participated, and around nine stakeholders and 9 resource persons and 6 stakeholders were participated. Actually, the main purpose of this event is, in the one hand, we need to enhance the knowledge related to evaluation for young and emerging evaluators. On the other hand, we need to introduce them to the job market. Actually, this is the innovative event that we have conducted. Previously, we have several workshops related to the enhancing knowledge only, but right now, this time, we also introduce our young and emerging evaluators to the field. As I said, the first session, normally we created the awareness platform. The first session, Introduction for Evaluation, that was conducted by Dr. Soma, who is the premier evaluator in Sri Lanka, evaluation consultant in Sri Lanka. The second session is a very interesting session. It's called How Do You Prepare a CV for Win an Employer? This is a very attractive session, not only for the participants, but also for us, actually, as the co-leaders. This was conducted by Ms. Ruchila Seniviratna, who is a premium HR executive in Sri Lanka, who came from in the private sector, especially they come from the private sector. Then the next session is quite interesting. It is a very technical session. How do you prepare a proposal for win a grant? This was by Ms. Habibpriya, who is a grant specialist from USAID, coming from the Australian aid, coming from Australian Embassy. The last session is the panel discussion. We have 6 panelists came.
Sorry, Kasun, you got muted. You were talking about, you got cut off during that session. Yeah,
okay, sorry. I talking about the panel session. I need to introduce those panelists. Firstly, Mr. Randika, who is the co-founder of EvalYouth Asia and EvalYouth Sri Lanka, and also Dulmini Chamatkar, who is the national evaluation expertise in FA of Sri Lanka, and also Mr. Ashan, who is represented United State of Embassy in Sri Lanka, and also Ms. Shahara, UNDP Executive Director, and Honorable Mr. Tirakaraj, who is the previous parliamentarian and present coordinator of the Sri Lankan Parliamentarian Evaluation Association. This is also a very interesting session, and this is and also last not least, in the first session we have another session. It was conducted by Ms. Madhuka Lianagamage to introduce MeHub, resource hub for the participants. And the next session is the second part of this event. It's called the Career Expo. We have invited 6 stakeholders, including UN entities, UNV, the United Nations Volunteer.
You got muted again. There you go. Sorry.
World Vision Sri Lanka, and last not least, the Academy of Sri Lanka, University of Sri Jayewardenepura. This was a very fruitful session. We have received number of people of positive feedbacks for the participants, and I think we have achieved our targets greatly for this initiative. And last not least, I need to thank some of my colleagues. I am one representative of the Sri Lankan Evaluation Association. EvalYouth Sri Lanka. We have Sabim, we have Christine, Vanilla, Punya, Chatura, other co-leaders. I must thank all the people, and also SLEvA, APEA, and Pildev, and also our previous co-leaders, Randika, Hasiti, and also especially Erika for you. Thank you very much for initiating this activity. Over to you.
Thanks, Kasun. Okay, so very interesting activity as well during the Evaluation Week. We will dive into that further again later on. So next up, Tashi, if you could also talk about what you guys did with EvalYouth Bhutan.
Okay. Firstly, I would like to extend my gratitude to APEA for inviting me to the session and giving me an opportunity to be the part of it today. So I'm thrilled to be part of our remarkable panel discussions centered around the theme Youth in Evaluation Experience and Way Forward. And thank you all the participants for joining us today. Now, let me start and share the experience of youth in evaluation. Firstly, organizing the youth in evaluations was a great initiative, and moreover, EvalYouth Bhutan was very fortunate to get the support from the Asia Pacific Evaluation Association, EvalYouth Asia, and Philippine Evaluators for Development. As we all know, evaluating program, projects, policies is very crucial to assess their impacts, and learn from it. And it is now more important than ever to create a pool of professional evaluators, like who can bring their unique perspective to the table. So in line with this goal, EvalYouth Bhutan organized a training on evaluation and data visualization, especially targeted as building the capacities of young and emerging evaluators. The training was a one-day event that brought together like 26 participants from like diverse fields. Like the workshop served as a platform to like foster a common understanding for the basic evaluation concept among participants, regardless of their background. Throughout the training, the participants engaged in interactive sessions like facilitated by local trainers from evaluation associations of Bhutan. And the workshop was employed participatory like methodologies and innovative learning techniques to ensure comprehensive understanding of the core topics. Now, if I like share like some of the experience that I have gained during the like youth evaluation, evaluations is not so popular in Bhutan, and therefore it was an enriching experience for both the trainers and participants to get a common understanding of the evaluation. And our participants were like from different organizations, and some of them have never been introduced to evaluation. Thus, this training helped our participants to appreciate the importance of evaluations. And this training helped to raise an awareness among the participants about the like importance of evaluations and their role in promoting accountability, learning, and improvement. And it inspired organizations and communities, and they recognize the need to work on advocacy strategies, then conduct awareness campaign and collaborate with the key stakeholders to professionalize the experience and professionalize the evaluation practice. And this experience not only like expand participants' knowledge, but also spark their enthusiasms like to volunteer with the EvalYouth Bhutan, and its mandate like making participants aware of monitoring and evaluation platform and equipping them with the knowledge to like, utilize in their various guides. In summary, the training provided participants with the platform to enrich their evaluation skills, gain unique experience, and like foster the deeper understanding of the importance of evaluations in driving organizational and societal impact. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tashi. And then no. Hello.
Yes, go ahead, Erika.
Thanks. Okay, so I was calling Uga to the floor. If you could also share from EvalYouth Mongolia experience, please.
Thank you, Erika. And good evening, everyone. Am I audible enough?
Yeah, now you are.
So in Mongolia, we implemented 4 types of activities during the Youth in Evaluation Week. This includes the 3-day capacity and training for young emerging evaluators and visiting 5 bigger universities in Ulaanbaatar to introduce the evaluation field among the university students, and reaching out to organizations, both international and national organizations in Mongolia, to introduce and call them to sign the manifesto and introduce the standard. And the final event is launching the first ever Mongolian National Evaluation Case Competition and start its registration. So mainly these 4 activities were implemented for the advocacy, raise awareness, and capacity building. So for the training, it was virtual, and other 3 events were in person. And I want to highlight the case specific things and also the unique experience of our cases. First of all, for the evaluation capacity building training, we partnered with American universities measurement and evaluation program and had trainers from these programs, alumni team. And the sessions include general understanding and specific topics, including log frame development, data analysis, and quality to approach in evaluation, etc. And for the advocacy, we reached out to organizations in person and also sent emails, and 8 organizations and 15 individuals and over 200 students signed the manifesto. And with this event, we translated the manifesto into Mongolian and introduced and sent them to the organizations. Also, what was unique about this campaign in Mongolia was that it was organized by the youth itself with 100%. Before the Youth in Evaluation Week starts, the EvalYouth Mongolia and the Mongolian Evaluation Association together, we signed an MOU with one of the local NGO who works towards the youth. And we started the evaluation intern program in Mongolia. So these selected 22 student and young and emerging evaluators. The interns, they were the organizers of this Youth in Evaluation Week. So we didn't have any other like senior level government official or parliament member, etc. All of these 4 events were organized by youth. So from that, what I understood is there is a huge commitment among the youth in Mongolia to learn about the youth evaluation. And also for the 3-day training, we had few participants from the countryside in Mongolia because it was virtual. So they had the opportunity to attend all of the training in evaluation. And after the training, we collected the feedback survey, and the participants from the countryside were very satisfied and congratulated us that we gave them the opportunity to learn and understand the evaluation with such high quality materials and topics. So the main takeaways from these 4 different activities in Mongolia, I understood that among the youth, there is a huge demand to learn and engage in the evaluation. And but I would say also we need to raise the awareness, because once they like learn or understand about what evaluation is, they want more. So we should start focusing on the evaluation, raise awareness, and also the giving the opportunity to youth in Mongolia. Yeah, that was a brief introduction.
Thank you very much, Uga. Actually, yeah, thank you for sharing your lessons as well from this. And I imagine you also discussed the barriers that you guys have encountered, right, while interacting with these 4 events. I just wanted to highlight for our audience's sake as well, as you can see here, all of these events that our panelists have discussed were all under Youth in Evaluation Week. But all 4, and there are many other chapters who also did their own activities. All of them translated this opportunity into many various forms, right? EvalYouth Asia doing a whole social media campaign focusing on highlighting young people, EvalYouth Sri Lanka taking it an innovative turn of doing a career expo, and EvalYouth Bhutan go in person and for doing an in-person training and career development workshop, and then leveraging that for improving the organizational advocacy as well for EvalYouth Bhutan and for I imagine also for their VOPE counterpart, Evaluation Association of Bhutan. And then of course, EvalYouth Mongolia, like, taking that opportunity to do both virtual and in-person events, like, mixing the strengths of both worlds, essentially, to ensure that all young people are actually engaged and providing those avenues for young people. So Uga already talked about, like, some of, like, for our next session, she already talked about, like, what are the lessons and, like, the barriers that they actually encountered when they were doing their event. And I think that's very interesting to know, and, like, there's a lot of opportunities to gain, knowing that there are young people, like, there are a lot of young people in Mongolia, like, who are highly interested in evaluation, and that bodes very well for the field, essentially, for Mongolia, right? So coming in from different perspectives as well, like, by doing unique points from their events, I would like to hear the lessons and barriers that others have encountered when they are conducting their event. So Uga already talked about it. I'm gonna go straight to May. So May, doing a social media advocacy event for Youth in Evaluation Week, what do you guys learn, and what action points do you think should, like, of course there are barriers, so from those lessons that you guys have learned, what are the key actions that you think should be taken to advance youth in evaluation further in Asia Pacific? So over to you, May.
So, all right, thanks, Erica. So I want to point out 3 things that we realized from our experience with the Youth in Evaluation Week. One is that we have a lot of YEE leaders in the Asia Pacific region who are actively doing their part in championing youth engagement in evaluation in their own countries. And we've seen this in the stories that we received from our national chapters, which we posted during the Youth in Evaluation Week. And if you had the chance to follow a social media campaign, you would have read the stories of these YEs, how they started in the evaluation field, the challenges they faced and are currently facing, and also the passion for engagement of young people in the evaluation field. But I think a crucial matter is these national chapter leaders like Uga, Kasun, Tashi, to continue being active and to inspire more young people to get into the evaluation field. And at EvalYouth Asia, this is one of the things that we're really trying to figure out as well. And in the next couple of months, we'll be trying out some new strategies, for instance, peer learning and other different types of strategies to raise awareness and engage our YEE network more and more. Because we believe that like volunteers are the lifeblood of our organization. So we need to invest more in engaging them and getting them involved in all our initiatives, and in encouraging them as well to create their own initiatives to reach out to more YEEs in their own networks. Second is that we know that our country is very diverse. So each sub-region and country in our region has its own intricacies. So while we have a number of initiatives at the regional level at EvalYouth Asia, we do also recognize the value of having these national and local level initiatives as well, which call for tailored content, just like what Uga, Kasun, and Tashi have shared earlier. This speaks to the need to work and support our national chapters to be more active in doing various initiatives at the country level. Which is something that at the regional level, we are also trying to address and support in the next few months. And then third, in order to move forward, I think partnerships and collaborations are key to meaningful engagement of youth in evaluation. So as advocates for youth in evaluation, a lot of times we can only do so much to promote and empower YEs and strengthen the supply side of evaluations with the trainings that we do to make YEs more competent in their field. But without the supply and demand side being open to welcoming, I think, YEs into their teams, progress on this matter will still remain slow. And so a key action point, I think, moving forward is to really bridge the gap between the supply and demand side through partnerships and collaborations, and having, I think, an enabling environment within organizations, within agencies, within countries, which I think the standards is trying to do around engaging youth in evaluation processes will be a game changer in the next couple of years. Over to you, Erika.
Thank you very much, May. I can see Kasun and Tashi nodding as well. So maybe Kasun, like aside from what was already mentioned, do you have any other lessons from your unique experience that you would like to share?
Yes, Erika, actually.
Oh, sorry, you got muted again.
Is it okay? Now I'm audible?
Yeah, now you are, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Yes, just Dorothy mentioned that the effective collaborations among the stakeholders. It was the one key lessons that we have also identified. During the sessions, we were able to communicate 5 UN entities: UNDP, UNV, World Food Programme, and AFO. Also 2 embassies in Sri Lanka, the Australian Embassy and USA Embassy, and also several NGOs and also academias, especially University of Sri Jayewardenepura, and also government entities like a Sri Lankan Parliament. Therefore, the effective collaborations among stakeholders is must for improving capacities and enhancing professionalism in the evaluation sector. The second thing is the effective communication, internal and external, both. Internally, how we communicate in our team as a co-leaders, and also as a EvalYouth Sri Lankans. And the external communication, how we communicate APEA, how we communicate SLEvA, how we communicate Eval for Action like campaigns, and also how we address the participants who are willingness to join with our organization, how we promote social media campaigns. Those are the second important lessons learned that we have identified. Effective communication is generates number of different positive outcome for our event. Last not least, I just explained previously, we have conducted several awareness sessions. But this time, very first time, we have introduced this Career Expo, which means providing opportunities to YES in work real field. This was another success story that we have gathered. We need to engage our youth in a practical way, just not giving only awarenesses, but also need to give opportunities to practice their knowledge. Those are the main 3 lessons learned that I have gathered during this session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kasun. And additional thoughts from you, Tashi?
I think both of our colleagues has already highlighted what I was thinking about to share. And I'll just share some of the lessons and the key actions from the perspective from the EvalYouth Bhutan. So firstly, let me share some few. Let me highlight few key lessons that we have identified. The first one is evaluations practice being not so not popular in Bhutan, so it's very difficult to reach the young and emerging evaluators in evaluations. Then other thing is that the training was made possible through collaborations with various organizations including Asia Pacific Evaluation, EvalYouth Asia, then Philippines evaluators for development and the evaluation associations of Bhutan, the national board. So this highlights the importance of collaboratives. Even May has highlighted that. Then other after the key lessons that we have identified, I think the key actions that need to be considered are EvalYouth Bhutan need to work on developing on like advocacy strategy and conducting an awareness campaign to promote the importance of evaluations among the youth. Then this can help to create a culture of evaluations and increase the youth engagement in the field. Then also, like I think it's important to invest in the building the capacities of young evaluators. Which means we need to like focus on providing the training, workshops, and mentorship to give the like young evaluators with the like necessary skills and knowledge. And other things like participants like became aware of monitoring and evaluation platform during the training, which like serve as a guide like, for the young and emerging evaluators. So it is essential to like encourage participants to actively use the platform to assist the emerging evaluators. So I mean assist the to use the platform to assess the resources and to share the experience and engage the discussions for further their learning and networking. So yeah, that's
Great. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Tashi. Of course, like for our panelists, if you also have additional items to add, feel free to just like, raise your hand and then like I can give the floor to you. And for our audience, if you guys have any questions or any clarifications, feel free to add them in the chat, or like, if you have specific questions for each of the panelists, we will be happy to answer them for you. So yeah, like everyone here really talked about a lot. There are a lot of key actions that needs to be done to actually like, to further improve the engagement of youth essentially in evaluation, especially not just in our region, but this is the same all over the world, right? But then like we also have to highlight that we already like, we already have come very far. Like we started with EvalYouth Asia in 2020, and then 3 years in, we have a lot of chapters and we have a lot of leaders, and we already have a lot of success stories as well, as highlighted by EvalYouth Asia's activity during Youth in Evaluation Week. But regardless, there is a lot to be done, essentially. Like if we talk about the way forward, it's gonna definitely at this point for each of the chapters, it's gonna be very, very diverse, and it's gonna be very, very different, as they have discussed. Like for the way forwards for each of their own contexts. So just to add in as well, for the sake of our audience as well, in case you do not know, during Youth in Evaluation Week, aside from the participation of like multiple partners around the world taking like hosting their own events or activities to like to raise awareness about young and emerging evaluators, and like raise the capacities of engaging youth in evaluation. Along with those, like there are 50 events in 1 week that was conducted by multiple partners, both by evaluation experts and young people collaborating together. So along with those events, there are actually 6 standards that came up during the week. And these are the standards are the standards, or the youth and evaluation standards is essentially a guideline on how can an institution like enhance meaningful engagement of youth in evaluation. 6 standards because it is tailored for 6 different organization types of organizations. So that's international organizations, there is for academia, there is for governments, there is for youth organizations themselves, there's for VOPES, and then there's for private sector. So 6 standards, all tailored for different stakeholders, all just simply outlining what can they do, what's the bare minimum, 2 is what's like what's a good what's the actual good standard that we sectors should follow if for them to say that yes, we are actually engaging youth in a much more meaningful way. And then of course there's exceeding the standards that these organizations can do. And another unique thing is that these standards were actually developed by both, like, through collaborative efforts by both young people and evaluation experts from multiple sectors, right? So from multiple sectors, so it's intergenerational, it's geographically diverse, and it's all a collaborative effort just to create this standard. So for the young people here, if you are guys pushing for your partners to meaningfully engage, youth better, you have these standards at your hands that you can, like, okay, you don't have to start from zero. These are the standards that were co-created on what you can do and how can you actually start and meaningfully engage young people. And of course, like, our co-leaders here, one way or another, have been involved as well in the development of those standards. So I actually encourage everyone to read through it and actively promote the use of these standards. Part of its feature as well is that there is a self-assessment tool that institutions can use to actually measure how well are they doing in engaging young people in evaluation. So it's not just purely theoretical. There is a practical tool that people can use to measure the performance of these institutions, essentially. Okay, so one other thing, essentially, so I'm encouraging as well for our audience, if you guys have questions or clarifications, please do share your questions now. And so, we'll be happy to entertain you. So while we are waiting for questions from our audience, I would actually, invite our panelists as well, just a little bit, with, you guys already talked about your way forward. The actions that you guys, the key actions that you have shared definitely reflects what your organizations will be taking, essentially, right, to move forward with your chapters. So, and then couple that with the standards, right, with the new standards that we are pushing, actively pushing for organizations and our partners to adopt. What do you think would be different 5 years from now? Like, it could be in your own context or personal or institutional context. What would be different 5 years from now? And so maybe I'll start with Kasun, if you could share your thoughts and what are your visions for after 5 years for meaningfully engaging youth?
Thank you, Erika. Actually,
Oh, you got muted again. Also, just keep it short so we have very short time.
Thank you, Erika. Might be this will be my personal perspective, because I thought addressing the youth is a different perspective for the evaluation. Evaluation is some sort of advanced involvement, much beyond the project management. If someone wants to evaluate, they should know very well about the project, because we are evaluating project, policies, or institution. If you want to dive in the sea, before that you must swim very well. Therefore, we need to enhance the skill related to evaluation for the youth who are right now working in the development field, or at least they should have some sort of enough experience related to the project management. Otherwise, we are going to enhance the knowledge for fresh graduate or undergraduate in any country. Might be this concept will be a little bit harder to understand it. Therefore, in my perspective, I thought if we can approach someone who have some enough experience in the development field, and we can invite them to as working as an evaluator in future, this would be a very good initiative for the evaluation youth in evaluation side. In addition, in the national level, we need to do the same thing, they enhance the capacities, institutionalization, and policy making. These two parts should be working in the parallel way. In the end of the future, that two paths could be merged in one point. in that point, we can easily achieve our target as promoting evaluation culture in the global, not only in the country-wise and also in the global-wise. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Kasun. And Tashi? Tashi, are you there? So what would look different 5 years from now?
So, yes.
So what would look different 5 years from now? Like with the standards and like, with the lessons and your way forward?
Yeah. I think with the youth meaningfully engaged and the effort that the team just now like APEA, EvalYouth Asia, they are like giving the effort to to build the capacities of our young people. So I think in the 5 year, there would be a significant increase in representatives of youth in evaluations process and also decision-making forum, and youth voice would be actively sought and valued, ensuring they are meaningful participants in shaping evaluation practice and policies. Then other thing it would be youth evaluators would be leading evaluation projects, conducting research and implementing innovative evaluations methodologies and all. Then also youth would be actively engaged in collaborative efforts within the evaluation community. Then they would be networking with the experienced evaluators, engaging in the knowledge sharing platforms and participating in the professional association. And this collaborative evaluation, in this collaborative environment would foster the mentorships, then learning and exchanging the ideas between the generations of evaluators. So lastly, I think youth engagement in evaluations would be sustainable and institutionalized within the organization and institutions. So policies and practice would be established to ensure ongoing youth involvement, creating pathway of their continued participations and leadership in evaluation field. That's it.
Great, thank you, Tashi. And definitely, I think with the pacing that we have, it's much more it's at least that vision is much more clearer now on how we should tackle that forward. Uga, any thoughts from you?
I agree with what other co-leaders say, and I want to add in the one sentence, if we start the engagement of the meaningful engagement of youth from now, in 5 years, I think the decisions, activities, programs or projects, whatever we are going to implement are more informed about different social groups after 5 years, because I think youth are the bridge between all generations and the demographic characteristics, so that youth can effectively communicate and coordinate with everyone in the society, from the children to elders, from the poor to rich, etc. And also they can meet the needs of these social groups. So if we start engaging the youth meaningfully, I think in 5 years we would be more more informed society, informed of the social components. Actually, this is why we need the meaningful engagement of youth in evaluation.
Thank you. Thank you, Uga. Definitely. And also that's also one of the main reasons why young people are called change makers, right? Because we always hold people accountable. Thank you, Uga. Over to you, May, to share your perspectives as well.
Okay, so for me, if organizations are committed to following the youth in evaluation standards, will follow up on their commitments. I imagine that in 5 years, having YEs in evaluation teams will already be the standard in all organizations, and that YEs will be playing key positions, including in leadership positions within the evaluation ecosystem, both in the demand and supply side. So that includes like VOPES, UN agencies, private organizations, academia, youth organizations, and EvalYouth in as well, and that collaborations between and among these organizations to promote youth in evaluation will be the new normal. So that's what I see.
Thank you very much, May. Yeah, and with all of that, definitely it's like, hopefully with the standards and, with all of us together, it's gonna be more concrete and coming much faster, especially for our region. So thank you for our panelists. And so just to to give summary and to quickly wrap up our discussion as well, it is my pleasure to invite to the floor Taruna Gupta, who is the Secretary General of European Evaluation Society and is also one of the main partners of young and emerging evaluators here in Asia Pacific. Over to you, Taruna.
Thanks, Ana Erika. So I'm just going to start by giving my reflection on something. One thing that I would like to really highlight, which I like about APEA, is this opportunity for young emerging evaluators. You must have heard from all the co-leaders when they speak, they talk about opportunity. And this is something that I think that is really important for people not to take for granted, because there are many networks which are inactive, and especially under the leadership of Azela, I've seen a huge shift in how APEA works. I think that this is something that is really important. The other thing I would say is whatever work that you're doing as a young emerging evaluator, you shouldn't sort of undermine it. So look at all of these events that were held. No matter how small or how big your role is in the events, I would say that regardless of where you are in your career, that you should always take up these opportunities, because you don't know who will take notice of you at a national level or at a regional level, and how that will change your career path. But more than that, I think it's really important to stop thinking about what evaluation can do for you in terms of, oh, it's a job and everything. And for you as evaluators to start to think about what can you do for evaluation. So I really love that Ana Erika has used the example of standards today, because what I would say is when you want to promote standards, it's not about just taking a piece of paper and telling people, oh yeah, they're standards, but it's about you as young emerging evaluators taking the time to read through those standards, understanding what they mean. And if you have questions, because you have such an amazing network in APEA and co-leaders, I think it would be really fantastic if you could have even discussions about those standards so people could sort of understand them in depth. Obviously, in the Youth Week, they had a Youth and Evaluation Week, they had the sessions. So I would even listen to those recordings, but it's about getting a depth of understanding so that you can further your plans as an evaluator, but the field. And I'll give you an example. So for Youth in Evaluation Week, we reached out to APEA as the European Evaluation Society. And the main reason for this is how active APEA is. And I actually I was leading the research on how to what is authentic youth participation in evaluation. And what's really interesting from that was that I'd seen publications from APEA. So any opportunities that you're being presented with, make sure that you are taking them up, because not only is the work of APEA seen at a national and regional level, it's seen at a global level. So I think that's my main message today, but I'd also like to thank everyone for joining this webinar. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Taruna. Yeah, definitely. the Youth in Evaluation Week is just one of the many things that young people in the region are involved with. There are a lot of researches, a lot of guidances under the Asia Pacific Regional Evaluation Strategy that are ongoing, that were published, wherein all of them engage young people as a co-evaluator, as a leader, and as a key informant as well. So do look into them as well in the Asia Pacific Evaluation Association website. So before we officially end, I would just like to call all of our audience to just please very briefly just turn on your videos so you can just like take a group picture and just commemorate this event. So yeah, so please turn on your videos and just say hi.
Madhuka, please take the picture.
So while we're waiting for others, is anyone else gonna turn on their video?
Okay, I think I can take a photo now. So keep smiling. I'll take now.
Okay. Is that if it's okay? All right.
Okay, then thank you.
Thank you very much, Madhuka. So I just see there's a last minute question from Kasun. That this is, so I'll just address it very quickly. So I think we have a few minutes to spare anyway. So what do we do to what do we improve to take a chance for conducting evaluation based on TOR? INGOs call for applications from individuals, but young people do not have enough experience. One, in many cases, the young people usually do have the experience. It's called transferable skills. You may have, if you've done research, if you've done your thesis, you most likely have the skills to conduct an evaluation. You just don't know how to probably reflect it in your resumes. So if that is your problem, then you have to take a career development workshop that addresses it. We also have the MIE website that teaches you how you can develop your career in evaluation. Second, if it is about the organization or the INGOs, like, setting a standards too high for a young evaluator to conduct to apply for that TOR or to answer the call for that TOR, then it's very likely the INGO's problem, or you should look into other job opportunities that actually focuses on actually engaging young people. Just for your information, the standards that I'm talking about is also being adopted by UN agencies, UN evaluation offices. So they are looking into either making sure that when they do call for TORs, that the evaluation teams should ensure that there is a young person inside the team, or when they do call for junior consultants, it is within the capacity, like the skill set that they requires are actually for young and emerging evaluators, so less than 5 years, and other ways to compensate for lack of experience or lack of educational background. So hopefully that answers that. But yeah, if you would read through the standards that I was mentioning, the link is also in the chat. You would also see what are the actions that these organizations should be taking as they say that they will be engaging young people in evaluation. So hopefully that addresses that, Kasun. Sorry, we have less than a minute to wrap up. So for our next webinar, the 44th SLEvA APEA webinar, we will be talking about the institutionalization of evaluation and the lessons learned to get it right. And the main speaker for it is Dr. Ana Erika Lareza, the president of Sri Lanka and APEA. And if you don't know, Sri Lanka is one of the leading countries when it comes to institutionalizing evaluation. So having Dr. Acela talk about it would definitely be very insightful if this is something that you would be interested in. It will be moderated by Yatin Dewakar, co-leader of EvalYouth India. And if you have further questions from APEA or SLEvA or from this webinar, you can reach out to us to these socials, both from SLEvA and APEA. We are present on both Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, so you can reach out to that. And with that, thank you very much, everyone, for joining this event. I hope you learned a lot. And, if you got inspired, hopefully we do get a chance to work with you in any capacity, one way or another. Thank you very much and have a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.